Let me check again. So let us say new keyword. Again, when I say new keyword, memory will be allocated. Memory will be allocated for the data members. Name, city. So when I say new, memory is allocated for the data members of the class. Who are the data members? These are the data members of the class. Now, after the new keyword, I have constructor which is invoked. In the constructor, I have now the moment I say constructor is invoked, then look at the constructor. When I have the constructor here, example, where I have EMP name, city, place. These are the members of the class constructor. What is the value we have given for the constructor? Now in the constructor, the value is what I passed. I passed name, EMP name I passed as Satish. City I passed as Hyderabad. Place I passed as Sanagar. So EMP name, city, place. This is how the values are passed. Okay. Then what is our logic? Name equal to EMP name. City equal to city. This dot place equal to place. This is how we have created. Now when you are running the logic, first always it looks for the variable in the local memory. In the local memory, do you have any variable called EMP name? Yes, I have a variable called EMP name whose value is Satish. This Satish is assigned to whom? A variable called name. Do you have a local variable called name? If you have a local variable called name, no, I don't have any variable in the local with a variable. I don't have a variable in the local called name. If you don't have a local variable, go to the object who invoked the constructor. This object invoked the constructor. Check out whether you have any variable with a name. Yes, I have here. So name equal to Satish. The next one we have city. Do you have any local variable? City? Yes, I have a local variable called city, whose value is Hyderabad. Hyderabad is assigned to a variable called city. Do you have any local variable called city? Yes. So this Hyderabad is assigned to this city. This Hyderabad is assigned to city. This Hyderabad is assigned to city. Then place. When you say place, do you have any local variable called place? Place is SR Nagar. Do you have any local variable called place? Yes, sir. Place equal to SR Nagar. Now, this dot place. Whenever I say this dot place, don't refer to local, refer to object. This dot place will refer to object. When there is a conflict between local variable and object variable, when there is a conflict between local variable and object variable, this will refer to the object variable. When there is a conflict between local variable and object variable, when there is a conflict between local variable and object variable, it will refer to object variable. When there is a conflict between local variable and object variable, this keyword will refer to object. This keyword will refer to object. Okay. Now, if I go to the variable here, look at the point. Now, when I say example E, example E, E dot name Satish. E dot city, null. E dot place, Esanagar. So what happened? The value of city is not transferred. You assigned a city equal to city, but still the value of the city is not assigned to the object. Why? Because when there is a conflict between local variable and object variable, local will dominate. When there is a conflict between local variable and object variable, local will dominate. When there is a conflict between local variable, mute your mics. All of you mute your mics. Ravi, this guy, Raj Sangam. Right. Come back again. When there is a conflict between local variable and global variable, local will dominate the global. When the local dominates the global, the values in the local will not be transferred to global. So let me run the program and show you how it is handled. First we'll take name. Now I'll take it. String name, string city. Now my in-text was this name, value of this name should be assigned to this name. Name equal to name, city equal to city, place equal to place. Then I gave public void this how we have created. Now save the program. What is our intention? We're assuming that the value of name is assigned to this name, the value of city is assigned to this city, the value of place equal to place. This is our assumption. But when you run the program, look at this how it is running. Execute it. Now it is throwing error. Why? Constructor is expecting some parameters. I have not given the parameters. Look at this. Execute. Error message. Why? Because constructor is expecting three values. Name it is expecting. I give name. Execute. Still it throws error message. It is expecting value of city, value of place. I give execute. When you execute it, I give Satish, Hyderabad, Esanagar. But when I'm printing the name, city and place, what are the values we are getting here? Null, null, null. So what does that mean? Whatever the values we are trying to assign, they are not getting assigned. I was trying to assign Satish to this name, Hyderabad to this city, and Esanagar to the place. They are not getting assigned. Why? Because there is a conflict. The class variable, local variable, both of them have the same name. When both of them have the same name, local will dominate. The values from the local will not be going to the global. When there is a same names, when there is a conflict between local variable and object variable, local will dominate. In that case, what should I do? Use the keyword called this dot name. I'll tell you here. I'll make slight changes here. EMP name. When I took a EMP name, both the names are not same. When both the names are not same, there is no conflict. So the value of EMP name is assigned to name. City equal to city. I give this dot place. Right. Let me give. What is the difference? When I give different names, when the value of this variable and the variable name, this variable name, both of them are not same. When both of them are not same, no issue. Run the program. Execute it. Look at this. So name is coming as Satish, city null, place equal to SR Nagar. Why these two values are coming and city is not coming? Look at this. In case of city, name, EMP name, name. Both the variables are not same. So there is no conflict. We have very clear idea. Value of EMP name is assigned to name. There is no conflict. So whatever the value we are passing as EMP name, that is given to name. Second one, place. Place means a local variable, which is referred in the constructor. This dot place means from the object. So here, whenever we say place, it is referring to the local variable. Whenever I say this dot place, it is referring to the object. So there is no conflict. Clearly, local variables are referred with the name. Object variables are referred with this keyword. When there is a naming conflict, when local variable and a class variable, both of them have the same name. When the local variable and the class variable, both of them have the same name, then there is a conflict. When there is a conflict, then please mute your mics. Ahmad, mute your mic. Shiva, mute your mic. Right. When both of them have the same variable, there is a conflict. When there is a conflict, local variables are referred with the variable name. Object variables are referred with the keyword called this. This is the keyword which is going to refer to the object. So look at the point. When I say place, place is SR Nagar. This dot place, when I say this dot place, don't refer to local variable, refer to the object variable. When I say this dot place, don't refer to local variable, refer to the object variable. When there is a conflict between local variable and object variable, then local will dominate. So to avoid this domination, we are supposed to use this keyword. Whenever I say this, it is going to add keyword called this. Whenever you say this keyword, it is going to refer to the object variable, not the variable of the constructor. It is going to refer to the variable defined in the class. Again, I repeat the points here one more time. Try to understand this. Public class example. This is how we create. Name equal to MP name, phone equal to MP phone, city equal to MP city. Then this is how I created. When I created this, first new, when you say new, memory is allocated. Memory allocated for whom? These are the members of the class. For those members, memory is allocated. Name. Phone. Memory is allocated. Okay. Then example, constructor. When I told example, constructor is called. When a constructor is called, example, what are the variables I defined in the constructor? Now when I said variables defined with the data type, what are the variables I have defined? There are 3 variables which I have defined. What are they? EMP name, EMP phone, EMP city. What is the value of EMP name? The value of EMP name is Satish. Value of phone number is 1234. Value of city is Hyderabad. Then what is the logic I wrote? Name equal to EMP name. Phone equal to city equal to, this is how I keep. Now what is the value of EMP name? Value of EMP name is Satish. Is assigned to which variable? Name. Do you have any local variable called name? There is no local variable in the constructor with the variable name. There is no local variable with the name name. When there is no local variable, go to the object. In the object, do you have any local variable? Yes. Give name equal to Satish. Then EMP phone. What is the value of phone? 1234. Do you have any local variable called phone? I don't have any local variable phone. So go to the object. Do you have any local variable? Yes. S enter here. 1234. City Hyderabad. S enter here. So what is your intention? Whatever the values I am passing here, what are the values I am passing here? These values are assigned to these variables. What are the values I am passing here? These values are assigned to these variables. That is our intention. It is done properly. Till here, any query from anyone? Till here, anybody has any query on this?
No.
Right. Now, let us see. Next, same example, I was taking a different style. Look at the same example. The same example I am taking in a different style. So look at this example. I was giving public example string name. So here I was giving name equal to name. My intention is whatever the value we are passing here, that I want to store to this. Name equal to name, phone equal to phone, city equal to city. So what we have done, the local variables of the constructor and the variables of the class both have the same name. So in the class I have name, phone, city. In the constructor, what are the variables I have taken? Name, phone, city. So what is the value of name you have passed? Satish. 1, 2, 3, 4. So our intention is, what are the values are there in the name? This has to be assigned to this name. Phone number has to be assigned to this phone number. City has to be assigned to this city. That is the reason I wrote a code, name equal to name, city equal to city, phone equal to phone. This is how I wrote. I assumed I want to assign this name to this name. So I wrote name equal to name. Then when you say name, what is the local variable we have? Satish. Satish. Now Satish should be assigned to the variable called name. When you say name, first it always check in the constructor. Do you have any local variable with the variable name? Yes, use it. If there is no variable in the local, then only it goes to object. Already we have a variable called name, so Satish is assigned to name. City, Hyderabad. Do you have any variable called city? Yes. So what is happening? When the variable what I am calling, if it is available in the constructor, it will not go to object. So once you run name equal to name, city equal to city, phone equal to phone, program is done. So what is the value of name? Null. Value of phone number? Null. Value of city? Null. Why? When the local variables and the class variables, both of them have the same name. When the local variables and the class variable have the same name, locals will dominate the global. So the data will not be transferred from the local to global. If both of them have the same name, data will not be transferred from the local to global. That is the issue. Then how will you resolve it? To resolve this, we have used it here. If I say this dot, now when I say name, Satish, this dot name means don't refer to local, refer to object. When local variables and object variables have the same name, this dot name will refer to object. So name equal to Satish, phone equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. This dot city equal to Hyderabad. I hope you got my point. When the local variables and object variables have the same name, when the local variables and object variables have the same name, then there is a conflict. To avoid this conflict, we use a keyword called this. This will always refer to the members of the object. I hope you are good with this. Any query from your end? Anyone has any query on it?
No, Satish.
Now, that is
So
how the
when we will use Satish?
when you're taking the same names. Now look at this. I have taken them. Why should you take the same name? If I take the same name, I know what values I am passing. If I take the same name in the constructor, I know what value I am passing. Are you clear? In case if you are taking the same variable names, then there is a question. I hope you got my point. Now if I give the same name, I understand what exactly the values I am passing. Which values exactly I am passing. Now here I know I am passing a city, we should be stored to city. I am passing a place, we should be stored to place. So if I don't want to have a confusion, I want to take a same names and I will use this keyword. Right, boss. Okay. Let us go to the next concept. Constructor overloading. What is that overloading? Look at the point. Public. no parameters. So look at this. In the same class, I was defining more than one constructor. In the same class, I was defining more than one constructor. But what is the difference? First one doesn't have any parameters. Second one has one parameter. Third one also has one parameter. But this is a string parameter, whereas the third one is integer parameter. I have taken two parameters, string and integer. Here also I am taking two parameters, integer followed by string. Okay, listen carefully now. So what is a constructor overloading? Within the class, within a class, if you define more than one method, within a class, if you define more than one method with the same name. If you look at this, name of all these are same: overload, 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 overload. Within the same class, within a class, if I have more than one method with the same name, but different number of parameters, 0 parameters here, 1 parameter here, 2 parameters here. So within the same class, if you have a method with the same name with a different number of parameters and a different type of parameters, in this both the cases, number of parameters are only one parameter, but this is a string, this is an integer. So if you have more than one method in the same class with same name with a different number of parameters, then I have with a different order of parameters, different number of parameters, different order of parameters. So what was the different order of parameters? String, integer. Here I have taken integer string. So then it is called overloading. Within a class, if I have more than one method with the same name, but with a different number of parameters, different type of parameters, different order of parameters, then we call it as constructor overloading. Within a class, if you define more than one method with the same name, with a different number of parameters, different type of parameters, different order of parameters, then we call it as constructor overloading. So now, let me put it in the words. If we have more than one method, different number of parameters, then we call it as method overloading. If it is a constructor, then we call it as constructor overloading.
Satish?
Yeah.
If it is constructor, then we should have the same class name, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, so if it is so we can have a other method name also instead of class method. Then we can call it as an
Method overloading.
method.
Yeah. If you if you define method, there is method overloading. If you define a constructor, it's a constructor overloading. Okay.
Thank you.
Now, so we have here. So out of this, let me execute it. When I call it, I'm calling a constructor with a 0 parameters. So when you invoke, it will check constructor with a 0 parameters, no parameters. At the time of creating an object, I can only call one constructor. So in this case, I call constructor with no parameters. I passed constructor with one string. So it's going to call constructor with a string. At the time of creating an object, only one constructor can be called. So we got name equal to Satish. So I have an option based on my requirement. I can choose the constructor what I want. So again, I repeat, within a method, if you define within a class, if you define more than one constructor with the same name with different number of parameters, different type of parameters, different order of parameters, then we are going to call it as method overloading. Within a class, if I define within a class, if I define more than one constructor with a different number of parameters, different order of parameters, different type of parameters, then we call it as constructor overloading. Then we call it as constructor overloading. I hope I'm clear. Anyone has any query? The same thing I will define as a method overloading. Look at this. Now, what is this called? It is called method overloading. This concept is called method overloading. Within a same class, within the class, if I define more than one method with the same name, with a different number of parameters, different order of parameters, then we call it as method overloading. Then we call it as method overloading. I hope you're clear. Am I clear with this? This is the concept of constructor overloading and method overloading. Constructor overloading and method overloading. Anyone has any query on that? Anyone has any query on this? Am I clear?
Yes.
Yes.
So these are the topics what we require for starting up our basics of Visual Force.